Footy fans, this is the release you've been waiting for. The golden years of football captured on video in That Was the Season That Was. Watch our game's greatest highlights again and again. The magnificent marks, the classic clashes, the greatest of goals, and those memorable victories. Football's best ever video collectible series, only from Australian Football Video.
A year to remember, a year to savour, a year in which we farewelled three champions, Tony Shaw, Tim Watson and Peter Dacos, among others. A year in which Gary Ablett defied gravity and age to become the Coleman medalist again, overshadowing Hawthorn's 1,000-goal full forward Jason Dunstall. Perennial bad boys Dermot Brereton and Tony Lockett made their marks as only they can. It was a groundbreaking season, a year in which the final 8 came into being and would be launched in sensational style. This was 1994, and that was the season that was. Your host, Sandy Roberts.
Hello everyone and welcome to our program That Was the Season That Was for 1994, and what a season it turned out to be. Joining me to talk about it and take you through an extraordinary year is the chief football writer for the Herald Sun, Michael Sheahan. How quickly it's gone, Mick.
Yes, it has, Sandy. They always do, don't they?
Amazing, isn't it? Let's go back to the start of the year. I'll throw you a couple of names. Michael Long, for one.
Michael Long, well, I think it's just unbelievable. This guy was Essendon's premiership hero in September last year, and before February is finished in the next year, he's out of business, out of contention for the whole year.
Here's another fair name, Peter Dacos.
Yes, one of Collingwood's few heroes of recent years. Must have been a terrible emotional wrench for Collingwood to part company with Dacos. He's been the darling of Victoria Park for so long. But, I mean, we look at Dacos and the magic moments, and there's a real romance attached to players like him. I think Collingwood had to take a commercial decision, and they did that. And, I mean, Dacos wouldn't have been cheap, and I do believe that they think that he'd sort of outlived his usefulness too. The
Brisbane Bears also made a commercial decision. They picked up a gentleman by the name of Alistair Lynch and took him north.
Yes, they did. A commercial decision for them and for Fitzroy. It was a savage blow to Fitzroy, but to me it indicated that the Bears had really arrived as a competitive club in this competition. I mean, they were no longer prepared to take the discards. They wanted good players. They targeted Lynch. They exploited the rules that were favourable towards them, and they got probably one of the best 5 players in the competition.
Now, we both journeyed to Glen Ferry early in the year to see Dermot Brereton come back and play against his old side. In very controversial circumstances, it was there the name Raiden Tallis came to the fore.
And a lot of us probably wonder whether we'll ever hear the name again, actually. I think that he was seen to be just the other bit player in the Dermot Brereton show. Unfortunately for Tallis, because he is a good player. He's a better player than... he doesn't deserve to be remembered as a trivia question. And I think the other side of it, the more serious side, is that for Brereton it was probably the start of the end. It was just something he couldn't afford at that time.
Basically, he trod on Raiden Tallis's head and was given 7 weeks. Did you agree with that decision? There was a lot of controversy about it.
There was. I mean, it was difficult. Once he was found guilty, I wasn't surprised at the penalty. And I guess I can only recall the night when we were watching it on Channel 7, and I was with my kids and we all watched it and we all had the same view, that something bad had happened and that there would be more to come.
Well, there was plenty happening at the start of the year. A number of rule changes. Just very briefly, Kevin Cheetah would have been rapt to see that at last the interchange bench had been added to from 2 to 3.
Yeah, he would have thought that was a modest increase, Sandy. He probably wants 6 or 8. But I think it is indicative of the pressures that are on the modern footballer. And also there is a strategic value in this too. I mean, coaches most of them do appreciate the chance to use their players with more flexibility. So I think we'll probably get to 4 in the pretty immediate future, and somewhere down the track probably have 6.
We also went back to 24 rounds, 20-minute quarters plus time on, 3 umpires, but the really big change was going from not a 4 to a 5 to a 6, but to a final 8. At that stage, many people thought, my hat, what is going on? What were your initial thoughts?
I didn't like it. I mean, I think there's a natural conservatism in a lot of us that follow football, and we resist the changes. and history says that most of them have been for the better. I didn't like it because I looked at it in isolation and just regarded the finals and saw so many anomalies in the system, and they're still there actually. But I think what we'd forgotten that was there was going to be a lot of positives on the way through, and we've had a fantastic home and away season. We've got some problems with the final 8. Maybe if we extended it by a week it would solve them, or maybe we need to revamp it, but only time will tell on that.
Well, the year got underway with the Foster's Cup, and it was a very tight competition as well. One game, Collingwood North decided by a point. 2 games went into extra time, and then Essendon and Adelaide played out a grand final with the Bombers at that stage winning, and everyone saying, here we go again out at Windy Hill.
Exactly.
What were your thoughts? Who at that time were the big 3 guns as far as you were concerned for season 94?
Well, for the past 3 years, I've always had West Coast at the top. I just think that their equipment's so good. They've got a huge advantage when they play at home, so they're guaranteed virtually a place in the finals. And I think they're a very professional outfit and well coached. So I had them at the top. And I've always been a firm believer in the Foster's Cup as a form guide. I mean, there are exceptions, but generally speaking, teams that perform well there do so in the season proper. And I had no doubt that there were 3 outstanding teams in the competition: West Coast, Adelaide and Essendon. And
hindsight can be a marvellous thing, hasn't it?
Well, we all appreciate the chance to choose that.
We certainly do. Well, let's get down to business, Mick. We're going to sit back, relax and enjoy what's turned out to be a wonderful season. But let's go way back to round 1 for the opening bounce for season 1994.
While they were posts apart, the league's hottest full forwards for the last decade, Tony Lockett and Jason Dunstall, enjoyed a day in the sun on the opening round of the season proper. Lockett's 5 weren't bad. His side, however, wasn't good. And certainly no match for the big bloke in the 19 Guernsey. Dunstall was sensational. 9 goals until three-quarter time. Pushed the Hawks to a 56-point win.
There he is. Dunstall. Oh, great mark. Brilliant mark. Cute angle. There's a drop punt. It starts to swing. It is a beautiful kick. It's a goal.
Matthew Richardson kicked 8 to almost single-handedly pull the rug from under Footscray. The Tigers failed by just 2 points. It was a heart-stopper at the MCG as Essendon and West Coast recreated one of the classic encounters of '93. The premiers of '92 from the West traded goal for goal with the reigning champs. At one stage it slipped away to a 33-point lead.
Fletcher spoils this time. Heady, an unusual touch for him. Matera from outside the boundary line has floated it through.
Wanganeen, the Brownlow medalist of last season, was again his side's most serviceable player. But as happened on the same ground, in the same situation last year, Big Paul Salmon stepped in. He was goalless until he took this mark 2 minutes from the end.
Drew Morfitt has been polishing the crystal ball.
Was he happy when he saw Salmon take that mark too?
It takes a long time to prepare Salmon. The clock now is under 2 minutes. When he first got the ball, it was 2:15. He kicks from 12 metres out. Essendon in front.
The Bombers by 3 points. Alan Jakovic kicked 8 for the Demons. And after this goal, high-fived the crowd. Amazing stuff. Just part of a 65-point win for Melbourne over Geelong. In Adelaide, there was 1 star, 1 phenomenal performance. Prior to the game, Tony Modra was talking of giving the game away. The limelight was burning him. Now Carlton wished he had. 13 goals from the Crows spearhead was a new AFL opening round record, overtaking the likes of John Coleman and Jason Dunstall. And by the way, Adelaide defeated the '93 grand finalists by 11 goals.
Here, under lights.
Well, he likes the lights. I think he just likes football, Park, and it's a beautiful kick. Never looked like missing.
The Easter split round produced the odd football miracle or two. At Waverley Park, Melbourne broke a long drought to beat Hawthorn. Again, skipper Gary Lyon was in breathtaking form for the Demons. But the man who would not be stopped was full forward Alan Jakovic. 4 goals 10 highlighted erratic shooting, but total dominance.
Oh, don't tell me he's kicked this. He has. He's happy it's a goal. Great goal. And the Demons, they can do no wrong. They are on fire.
Tim Watson took his 4 kids into the fray for his 300th AFL game. It was the only memorable moment for Bomber fans. Fitzroy upset the defending day and night premiers Essendon by 13 points.
Got it down intended for Wanganeen. Wine didn't have it. Johnson runs into an open goal and kicks it. Inside 50 go the Lions. No mark. Wide waits down in front. Here comes McGregor. Look at this kick. Say goodnight to the folks, Gracie. Fitzroy's home.
7 goals from Tiger sensation Matthew Richardson saw Richmond account for Brisbane at the MCG on Easter Sunday. The Bears continued their dismal Melbourne form, one win in the southern capital in 5 seasons.
Off by Darryl White. Tried to kick it to his own advantage. In there is Naish, handball. Maxfield, unselfish. Richardson could go in and get the goal anyway. Brilliant thinking, brilliant.
In Perth, Tony Modra was flattened, and Adelaide watched a handy lead evaporate in the final quarter as Brett Heady kicked 4 goals for the Eagles.
Distraction from behind taken by Bond to Heady. Can he kick another one? Heady measures the kick, 40 metres out. It's good.
Put it deep into their attacking zone. They'll need someone to take a big mark or someone at the back. Heady! He's done it again!
Gary Ablett came back to top form against Footscray. The Cats by 88 points.
No mark as the ball hits the deck. Here's Ablett on the left foot. Gary Ablett. Oh, miraculous goal. Terrific effort.
Oh, clean possession, Gazza. Snap for goal, a beauty.
And at the MCG, we farewelled the Macedonian marvel. Peter Dacos took his daughter on a lap of honour in front of 85,000. Later, he celebrated as the Magpies beat long-standing rivals Carlton.
Down the half forward, the speed of Fraser again. Oh, lovely ball. Terrific stuff. Fraser, long kick this time. Down into full forward. Sexton will punch. Can he? No. Rockers pulls the mark. Williams into an open goal and puts it through.
Highlight of the round, undoubtedly this run and goal from Mick McGuan.
And McGuan gets past Brown. They're lifting the pies. They can sense it. First 15 minutes ordinary, but since then they've been good. McGuan's had 5 bounces. Nearly get another one. Round he goes. In he goes to an open goal. Phil Manassa, stuffed by Mickey McGuan.
Goal of the year.
Collingwood's second straight victory on a day to savour.
You won't see better than that.
After a drought that stretched back to 1984, North Melbourne finally shrugged off Hawthorn. Led by skipper Wayne Carey, who took 17 marks and kicked 6 goals in another outstanding individual performance, the Roos defeated the Hawks at the MCG for the first time since the 1975 Grand Final. The margin, an incredible 127 points, a record in itself.
On his left side was Rock, unselfishly to McAdam. McAdam, you'll get a game next week, son. Give it to the captain, let him get his 6th.
Essendon was having an inglorious start to the season. For the second week in a row, the reigning premiers fell. This time to an undermanned St Kilda, led by Gordon Fode, who kicked 5 telling goals.
Chance here for the Saints. The hand pass comes out, a fumble by Burns. He's got another chance with Bailey. He centres. Gordon Fode on the run. Another one.
Fitzroy made its first home ground appearance at the Western Oval. New boy Jeff Hogg kicked 5 goals, while skipper Paul Roos celebrated his 250th game in grand style. The best match of the round was also the closest. In the 238th one-point result in league history, Collingwood survived a torrid finish. Time after time, 5 times in fact, Footscray had the chance to tie up the game. Unfortunately for new coach Joyce, they couldn't.
By 3 points. It's a good one. It looks good. No, he's missed.
Over the top, Cameron, left foot, rolls and goes. And only one behind. And he kicks it Footscray in front for the first time.
Minute 45 to go, Pete.
It's close. I don't think close enough, though. One behind.
On Sunday in Sydney, the Swans actually gave Adelaide a run for their money. Brassey's young Swans just couldn't sustain it. In the end, loss number 1,000 in league history.
Kick the full forward, over the head of Hall, this will be a goal. Lip tack from a mile.
Orchestrated, isn't it? Bickley receives from Jamison. Right down towards full forward. Considine has done well. Oh, socket off the ground by Smart, and he has put it through for his 5th.
Simon Minton-Connell showed just why Sydney had been the long-term cellar dweller of league footy. He did hit the target. His Swans looked terrific. In only their second win in 38 games, they accounted for Richmond. Minton Connell kicked 6-6.
Ticky Touchwood as Cresswell's kicked towards 50 and Minton Connell, third man, over the top, chips it away to Kelly. Is it too far to goal anyway?
Essendon's third loss in a row occurred against Melbourne. Melbourne side that Neil Baum had turned into one of the most potent in the AFL. Djakovic kicked 5 in the Demons' 12-point win.
Right on the boundary line, Sullivan. Good snap. Djakovic in front! Excellent work.
If one player was dominating the headlines, it was certainly North Melbourne skipper Wayne Carey. Against Footscray, he kicked 6 goals, took 13 marks, garnered 3 votes in virtually every media award, and even managed to have his number taken on a striking charge. That was dropped, but North picked up the 4-match points.
Number 8 to Wayne Carey. Oh, Bernie, that is just superstar stuff. Carey kicks a goal. Thank you, folks.
The biggest signing of the season was Alistair Lynch, the 1993 Fitzroy best and fairest and leading goal kicker. One afternoon for the Brisbane Bears against St Kilda, he showed just why. He kicked 8-3. It was just superb in the Bears' second win of the year.
Over the top, Lynch on fire.
On a windy night in Adelaide, the Crows won their 3rd from 4 matches. Geelong showed glimpses when Ablett weaved his magic, but the Crows were just too slick.
The top lip tack. It won't quite sit. Modra's still got a chance here. Still Modra. He's done it. What a start.
With nearly 80 possessions between them, the Phoebe twins, Matt and Steve, had a night out against Brisbane. With Djakovic kicking 6, the Demons beat the Bears by 87 points under the MCG lights.
Matthew Phoebe will kick a goal. Brilliant kick.
The next day, 2 unbeaten runs came to an end. At Cardinia Park, Geelong called on McGrath to shut out the superstar Carey, North Melbourne's captain, and he did just that. At the other end, Gary Ablett kicked 7 goals. The end result, a 15-point win to the Cats.
He's hurt himself. He landed heavily. From the Central Dragons, he was coached by Ray Jordan, right to the kickoff line. Big pack up. Ablett! Oh, that's a miracle goal.
Again, record crowd saw round 5 of the AFL season. The MCG on Saturday, 74,000 saw Essendon snatch their 2nd win of the season. This one over Collingwood was also by just 1 straight kick. Rocker kicked 7 for the Pies, but it wasn't enough. The Bombers by 4 points.
Here's the lead by Salmon. Oh, it's kicked straight to the man. Now David Flood rebounds. Brings it in the goal. Oh, you wouldn't believe it. The Bombers now lead by 4 points. What a comeback. They never give up.
Footscray kicked a record 9 goals in the second quarter against Adelaide at Football Park. The Crows hadn't lost at home in 12 months. They didn't quite know how to counter the Liberatore-inspired Bulldogs.
Liberatore goes wide. Costa in towards full forward. Osborne punched away, but he gathers. Onto the right foot goes Richard Osborne. Oh, it's another goal to the Bullies. Raining goals for Footscray at Football Park.
Later that afternoon, Hawthorn recovered from its shocking run of outs in Perth, of all places. Coming off losses of 127 points and 87 points, the Hawks looked a new team. Jason Dunstall fired with 5 goals. The 71-point loss was one of the West Coast's most humiliating.
Can he get round McIntosh? He soccers it. Centering kick. Goal to Jarman. Wanders in.
On Anzac Day, Richmond recovered from a week of internal bickering to thrash a St Kilda side, shattered by injuries to players of the calibre of Tony Lockett and Robert Harvey. A hard-hitting match, the Tigers home by 7 goals.
Rogers will race onto the left foot. Brings it back in front of goal. It clears the pack. Here's Grant. He's shoved over. Now Tony free. Onto the left foot goes free. Oh, he's kicked a great goal.
With 3 goals today, he's not usually a great goal kicker. Oh, here's a chance for Broderick. Pickett's tackle wasn't quite strong enough. Maxfield, he loved this. Absolutely eat it up.
It had all the ingredients of one of the clashes of old. Melbourne on top of the ladder, Collingwood threatening, and a huge crowd on hand to witness the fireworks. In round 6, there was one kick that made all the difference. The most talked about kick of the round. Gavin Brown booted truly, but his goal was disallowed, while the The Melbourne defenders couldn't stop him. The timekeeper did.
Well, we heard it. Did the umpire hear it? The umpire said, I heard it. There is no score for that.
Ironically, the Magpies lost by 5 points. It was Melbourne's 5th straight victory.
Punches forward. Phoebe gets it down to Lovell. Into... kicked by Dyson, and Dyson's kicked the goal.
The other big match of the 6th round, the West Coast Eagles kicked 10 goals straight. They did everything but shut out North superstar Wayne Carey. While North might have looked second-rate, Carey looked sensational. 5 goals and 15 marks made up for his side's 37-point hammering. Carlton thrashed Sydney by 10 goals. The stars were Cook and Bond, who kicked 11 between them. The mark of the round, no question, Tony Modra's ripper against Brisbane.
Tony Modra has taken a screamer and his name written all over it.
So quarter time in the home and away series for season 1994, and Michael, I don't really think it was the start that you may have predicted. Melbourne showing absolutely brilliant form at the top of the table, and worrying signs for two sides, namely Carlton and in particular the Hawks.
Well, I wasn't far away actually, Sandy. Melbourne caught me by surprise. 5 out of 5 was better than I thought, but you may remember I had the Mockers on Hawthorn again this year, and I also had doubts about Carlton. I mean, I think I was one of many who believed that Carlton's finish to 1993 was so bad that they would struggle to recover. 2 weeks into the season, I thought we'd seen some evidence to vindicate that. And then Hawthorn went through that terrible trough, I mean, where they lost 3 games by 280 points.
Amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Amazing. People, I don't think, could believe that that was the Hawthorn side.
Well, I saw the night that they played North Melbourne at the MCG.
They were without their big guns, though, weren't they?
They were, but they had been able to beat North Melbourne anywhere, any time for the previous 10 years, and North Melbourne caned them at the MCG.
Yes, more than 120 points.
Yeah.
There were plenty of rumblings in the boardrooms too, weren't there? I mean, Footscray wielded the axe, Terry Wheeler out. Were you surprised?
No, I wasn't. I wasn't surprised, but it was a very bold decision. I mean, Wheeler had taken Footscray into the finals in 1992 when they ran 3rd. They won half their games last year, 10 out of 20 in 1993, and they'd beaten Richmond in the first game. Probably, I think they fell in a bit that day, but they went to Geelong, where they haven't got a good record anyway, but they were belted down there. And I think that Footscray, I applaud them actually for having the courage to sit down and say, we have a problem here, we can go through the year with the bloke we don't think is the right coach, or we can make a change and take our chances, and they did that. So I think they deserve some credit for that.
And the other big news, of course, was Mal Brown. I don't think he would have said, look, let's sit down, I think we have a problem here. He might have been a little bit more forceful, but big bad Mal got things rolling at Punt Road.
He did. I would have thought that he would have said to himself, there's a problem here and I'm going to fix it. And I mean, and that's not for the first time.
I still don't think he would have been that polite.
I remember 20 years ago when he decided to fix Carlton single-handedly in Adelaide.
Yeah, correct.
And I always feel for Trevor Keogh every time I think of that. But, yeah, look, I think Brown, again, not dissimilar to the Footscray situation, saw a problem, believed that there had to be some major action taken immediately or they were going to waste a season. And he did that. He turned the place upside down, and I think it probably did trigger the Richmond revival.
Well, at this stage of season 2, we turned our attention to state of origin football, and really, in recent times, it has become an absolute showcase, hasn't it? Particularly with the contests between Victoria and South Australia.
No doubt. Of the 10 best games that I've ever seen, I'd say 5 of them would be state of origin games. I mean, my difficulty is that I tend to be a follower of the game rather than a particular team, so I love these sort of things, just to see the best players out there. And that game in Adelaide, you know, ranks with the best of them.
It certainly does. State of origin football at its absolute best.
Amidst cries that state of origin football was dying a slow death, Victoria and South Australia staged one of the great interstate clashes at Football Park on Tuesday, May the 3rd. The full forwards were stunning. At one end, Modra kicked 6 goals, some just sensational.
Modra off the ground, Scotland miracle.
At the other end, Ablett's godlike. This goal just took the breath away.
Goes with a long one. It's back there towards goal. Wanganeen and Ablett, 2 of the greats of the game. Ablett over the top. Don't tell me Gary's kicked it. He's got it. Ablett's kicked his 4th. Unbelievable. Oh, this game's alive now. There's a point the difference.
In the end, only 2 points separated the teams. The ball came Ablett's way.
Ablett's with a chance. Left foot by Ablett. It's a free kick. South Australia free kick, I think. And there's no doubt the free kick was there, player being held.
So the free kick coming back. Look at Teddy Whitten, he can't believe it.
South Australia by a kick. And for Croatia coach Graham Corns, a perfect record of 6 wins from 6 starts. Foss Williams medal went to Andrew Jumm. The Whitten medal to David Calthorpe. The Blight Trophy stayed in Adelaide.
Well, what a showcase game that was. 45,000 screaming fans getting South Australia home in an absolute thriller. But one of the highlights of the night, and the year in fact, that magnificent goal from Gary Ablett. So it was back to the home and away games once again, and we're at round 7 in the 94 season.
For the second match in a row, Richmond was on the winners list. Against Fitzroy, Paul Broderick starred. The former Lion helped the Tigers to an 8-goal third quarter. From there, they cruised. Melbourne's unbeaten run came to an end at the hands of former ladder leader North Melbourne. 34,000 saw the weary Demons go down by 5 goals. The controversial moments would come later. Skipper Carey cited on trial by video charges for allegedly eye-gouging Sean White. He would be cleared. King was suspended for 2 matches for striking Phoebe, while Obst was rubbed out for 1 match after this incident.
It's Obst diving on it. Oh, who was that cop one in the face?
Laidley got one.
There was a Dean Laidley.
Yeah, cop one as an arm flew back from Obst, yeah.
Essendon's dreadful start to 94 continued. Old foes Hawthorn ran neck and neck all day before moving away to a 13-point win. The reigning premiers, it was lost 4 in 6 matches.
Tallis from about 35 metres out snaps a goal.
Sunday was just sensational. The MCG, more than 50,000 saw the Mother's Day clash between Geelong and Collingwood. 7-goal first term set up Geelong's win, but the Magpies staged a spirited recovery. The Pies kicked 8 in the third quarter. The highlight of the match, this mark from one G. Ablett. The Cats by 28 points.
I'd have to have another look at this.
He's hurt himself too.
In Sydney, Plugger Lockett added another chapter to his quite infamous career. This chilling clash with Peter Caden, the young Swan in hospital with a compound fracture of the nose. The AFL Tribunal viewed the incident on videotape, subsequently suspended the Saint for 8 matches. Lockett's rampage continued. While the Swans kicked away to an 8-goal lead 7 minutes into the final quarter, Lockett was slowly plugging away. With his 11th goal, he put his side in front for a quite remarkable win. Lockett's love-hate relationship with the Sydney crowd was emphasised afterwards.
You know what that says, Sydney fans? Plugger Lockett has the last word.
At Subiaco that afternoon, Carlton had no legs against the Eagles. Too many players were down after State of Origin responsibilities. The Blues could manage their lowest score in 58 games, just 6 goals.
Kept in play. Jason Ball gets a high kick up towards the half-forward line. Matthew Hogg twisting and turning, sneaks away from Heady, but then has an airy. Oh, could prove very costly. McIntosh gives it to Heady. He shoots towards goal, and it does prove very, very costly.
After indifferent early season form, Steve Kernahan was back to his best against Richmond. In a dazzling first half that thrilled the 50,000 at the MCG on a Friday night in May, Kernahan kicked 6. The Blues by 28 points.
Kernahan goes for his third and puts it through. North, they love that.
For the third time, North skipper Wayne Carey had his number taken. This time for clashing with Fitzroy's Peter Sartori. He was found guilty, rubbed out for 2 matches, and the Brownlow medal had lost its short-priced favourite. In a fiery match at the MCG, Collingwood skipper Gavin Brown and St Kilda's Dean Gregg tangled. Both were suspended. Brown for 2 and Gregg for 4 matches. Collingwood lodged an appeal immediately. Brown was let off. And as for the match, the Magpies by 49 points. Melbourne's mid-season slump continued. The Demons dropped from top spot after failing to overtake Footscray.
Big fly by Grant. Good take by Grant. Takes forever to get his kick away. Goes for goal. Wonderful football. Outstanding.
Round 8, 1994 will be remembered for one personal achievement. It was, of course, Gary Ablett's solo performance against Sydney. In the biggest goal feast at the SCG ever, Ablett kicked 14 goals, 6 of them coming in the second term. The Swans never recovered.
McGrath, long to Ablett. A bit of a wrestle. Ablett going goalwards, number 4.
I think Dunkley's back on there. Oh, Ablett grabbed him. Ablett! Oh, yes! 12 goals.
Well, Gary Ablett's only done better than this twice when he kicked 14 against Richmond in '89 and Essendon last year. Oh, it nearly misses. It's close. A goal.
Everyone came to the party when North put on a birthday to celebrate 125 years. Tony Shaw was there for match number 300, but his celebration soured. Even without suspended champ Wayne Carey, North were too good.
Free, but Blakey does well. Backed himself, Shaw ball handling. Handball over the top really wasn't a good option there. Stevens able to get it back to Scholl. Scholl from half-back, kicks in towards half-forward. Gather is by Longmire, and he gets around onto the right foot. Can he do something? Oh, look at this! How's your lollies with this one? Johnny Longmire.
In a replay of the '93 grand final, Carlton threw away its chances of a reversal. Atrocious kicking let Essendon sneak home by a point. The defending AFL premiers had won 4 games, 3 by just a kick.
In the opening minute. Hurd, Simons, a quick kick. Buick, can't mark. Williams, Pressuri. Simons, Michael Simons, straightens up. Oh, don't tell me he's kicked this, he has. Great goal, Michael Simons.
On a blustery day at the Western Oval, the West Coast kicked 6 goals in the first quarter, and with Peter Matera in stunning form, were never challenged.
Towards McIntosh, it bounces over the top, and he's kicked a goal.
Gary Ablett kicked 8 goals against Richmond. In 16 matches, the Cat superstar had kicked 104 goals.
Ablett an opportunity. Ablett some magic here, pulls it back. Oh, great goal. Went in and won the ball. It comes to Couch, who's 60 metres out. Long kick down a full forward. Ablett open goal.
Dermot Brereton returned to the big time, this time for Sydney against Melbourne. And what a comeback it proved to be. The kid kicked the goal that put the Swans in front, and the larger-than-life hero enjoyed the moments. For half the match against Hawthorn, Adelaide failed to score. 44,000 at Football Park looked on in amazement as Hawthorn whipped up a 97-point victory. Jason Dunstall was sensational. If he wasn't kicking goals, he was setting them up.
Dunstall from behind, got the fly, sucker up the ground. No, he gets the hand back to Hargraves, and Hargraves has kicked the goal.
Over 3 days, nearly 250,000 fans saw some memorable footy in round 10. They saw Sydney lead the West Coast at half-time before the Eagles surged clear in the third quarter. Matera outstanding for the home team. Steve Kernahan was back to his best. He kicked 7-5 as the Blues won their 5th match of the season by 12 points against Footscray. 75,000 packed the MCG for a classic Essendon-Geelong encounter. They saw Ablett kick 6 in the first half as the Cats opened up a 33-point lead. They watched in awe as Essendon caught up in the third quarter and went on to win by 11 points.
Buick coming right into the game. Here they come again. Hills to the half-forward line. It's a loose ball. Gary O'Donnell. Over the top is Hurd. He races in the goal, James Hurd. Oh, it's another one. Bombers in front.
The upset of the round, bottom side Brisbane beat the second-place North Melbourne at the Gabba. Poor kicking from the Roos saw them kick 12-21. They had no answer to the skills of Ashcroft, Champion and McLean. Adelaide Fitzroy matches have often produced controversial results. No such controversy this day. Adelaide kicked 7 goals in the third term to win running away.
Ingerson brings it back. Stretch goes for the punch. Whitney to kick his fourth. He's got it.
Carlton was in devastating form in round 11, and for the Blues, none was more fearsome than skipper Steve Kernahan. Sticks kicked 9-6 this day against Fitzroy. and helped his side amass 8 goals in the second term alone. The Blues by 55 points. Richmond promoted a youngster named Murphy. He kicked 5 goals, but it would be in a losing side. Essendon kicked 9 goals in the final quarter and looked every inch the reigning premiers.
Doolan gives away the hand pass. Denham inside 50, long kick. Oh, great shot at goal, he's dobbed it.
Out of mid-air by Ridley towards the outer side half-back flank. That's for the Tigers. Cockatoo Collins with great dash. Keeps it in front. Brilliantly played. Pulls it back. Hugging the boundary line. It's still a live ball. Out of mid-air. Wanganeen! The goal of the year.
Look at that.
Brisbane hadn't won on the road since round 18, 1992. No one expected them to beat Geelong at Kardinia Park, least of all the Cats. Ablett kicked 6, but Geelong had no answer to 7 final quarter goals that set Brisbane alight. The match of the round saw Melbourne second against the top-placed Eagles. It would be a fizzer. Melbourne's early season form that saw it win 5 straight had evaporated. The Eagles won their 8th from 10 by 44 points.
Straight towards the forward pocket area. McIntosh got back. Lewis gathers. A little handball for Kemp. Kemp across his body. A magnificent kick. Equally as good as the last goal.
At Waverley Park, Jason Dunstall was simply awesome as Hawthorn hammered Footscray by 64 points. He kicked 8 of their first 10 goals.
Football from Platt. Well, this will test that right in the out with this kick from 48 metres. Not a bad kick. Look at that for a goal.
A lot of players. Taylor very high at the back, overrun by Gowers. It's going Gowers' way. Chance for Dunstall yet. Here he is in the goal square. Jason Dunstall, number 10.
The full forwards were under the spotlight that afternoon in Sydney. Simon Minton-Connell won the day with 7 goals for the Swans. John Longmire with 6, however, helped North to a 20-point win.
Wide. You could have them in a fair bit, you would think. Nichols, who's been very good so far, just hooks the kick a little bit. Longmire this time. The horse. And also won the Coleman medal. In the year he won the best and fairest, 1990. What's he done with that one? I think he's got it. He has. Oh, great kick.
The Queen's birthday round marked the halfway mark of 1994. And for Melbourne, it ended an amazing opening to the season. With Greg Williams in superb form, Carlton thrilled a crowd of 52,000 at the MCG with a 27-point win. For Melbourne coach Neil Barn, the frustrations continued. After winning 5 in a row, this was the 5th loss in 6 matches.
Look at that for vision. Under Williams has got the ball on a string, but we come to expect that of this great player. Onto the left foot. He brings it to half on Kernahan. Oh, almost took it on the second bite. Spalding onto Hogg. Hogg set sail for goal, and Matthew Hogg has kicked the ripper.
Geelong coach Malcolm Blight was booed by his home crowd at Kardinia Park. The Cats trailed St Kilda by 26 points. All was seemingly forgiven half an hour later. After 30 minutes of Ablett magic, which the superstar kicked 5, Geelong squeaked home by 3 points. At Princess Park, North Melbourne obliterated the Adelaide Crows. Schwass and Carey were simply terrific.
He could almost thump it from there. Goes to a vacant goal square. It's a great kick. It's a goal. No. Yes. Through.
But luck on the win was the video report and subsequent suspension for 3 matches of skipper Carey for striking Ben Hart. It was his 4th tribunal appearance for the season. The Sunday, Jason Dunstall visited Sydney. The Hawks spearhead kicked 11-3. His 14th double-digit performance of an illustrious career. 61,000 attended the MCG on the holiday Monday. Few expected to see Richmond stun Collingwood, but that's exactly what happened. Richmond had great ball winners in Broderick, Free and Knights, restricted Collingwood to just 4 goals. According to those who dwell on statistics, it was Collingwood's worst score away from home in a regular season match since 1897. Proof perhaps that Northie's young Tigers were coming of age.
Rogers! Oh! Bounce dropped it. Miranda's kicked the goal.
So half-time in the 94 home and away series. We've got round 12 behind us. And at this stage, Michael, the Adelaide Crows in trouble, and is the effect starting to tell from that magnificent State of Origin game?
I think there was a perception, Sandy, that that did hurt them, actually, that they had got up emotionally and physically for that game. And you know how important it is in South Australia, these State of Origin fixtures. And maybe that there was, that did hurt them in the latter stages of the season. But there are other factors. I mean, there was Bickley's injury, Modera's problems with getting his head right and his game right. So I think it was a combination thing.
Hawthorn, on the other hand, back on track after that nightmare start, and Jason Dunstall flying high.
He was. Well, I mean, he just was reinforcing everything that we believed about him, and just how he was the consummate performer, wasn't he? He was just sort of racking them up week after week. And I think everyone thought, well, the Hawks are back on track.
West Coast was on top at this stage. You weren't surprised at that. But Richmond and Footscray, coming off good wins, just about set to make a move.
But I had gross reservations about Richmond at that time. I mean, they'd been down for that long. There was no obvious reason why they were a better team, but history was to say that they were going to enjoy a very good run for the next 10 weeks.
Melbourne, a sensational start, 5 out of 5, and then bang, the wheels have fallen off somewhat.
Yeah, but like everyone else, Sandy, I think there are reasons for that, even though at the time we look at it and we can't quite understand why a team that started so well can have such a slump. But, I mean, you lose one or two key players, the confidence drops a bit, and it's a sort of a compounding effect from there.
North Melbourne had their share of problems too at this stage, because the Brownlow betting was thrown into total confusion when Wayne Carey was rubbed out and then, of course, out of the Brownlow.
Well, I mean, a lot of us thought that Wayne was on a suicide mission early in the season anyway. It was just this great talent who was running around and looking for people to hit, it appeared to be that time. And I think historically that will be good for him, that period. It was a very trying time. I mean, he was this guy with this immense talent who just wanted to go out and play the game and got irritated by the checking tactics of other people and wasn't able to control himself.
So Carey out of the Brownlow. Let's now turn our attention to round 13 of the home and away series.
After a first quarter in which neither side managed a goal, Richmond and North produced a thriller in round 13. While the Tigers kicked poorly in the blustery conditions, North was quite the opposite. North, this would be a stunning 5-point loss. The Roos, without Carey, were in second place on the ladder. Richmond 11th, but on the rise.
Lately, who's been quite effective in the third quarter. Terrific intercept. And the snapshot is there. It's a goal.
Just as shocking, perhaps, was the performance of Fitzroy against Hawthorn at Waverley Park. After an even first 3 terms, the Lions kicked 5-1 in the last. For Jason Dunstall, who was to be honoured that night by his club, it was a day to forget. For the 9th time in his career, he was held goalless. One of the key matchups of the round, the top-placed West Coast Eagles came to Melbourne to play Collingwood. Only 27,000 of the faithful turned up at the MCG, and the Eagles started heavy favourites. Magpies found an unlikely hero in Andrew Tranquilli, who kicked 6 in a 37-point win.
From all directions, Tranquilli, the second attempt. Very important kick. Tranquilli, has it got the carry? Yes, it has. Goal to the Maggies.
The upsets continued when Brisbane entertained a sellout crowd at the Gabba by defeating the reigning premiers Essendon. It was Brisbane's first win over Essendon. The victory by 33 points was a club highlight. Lynch was one of the stars with 5 goals, a feat matched by Paul Pios. That evening in Adelaide, the Crows all but threw away their match against Melbourne. At three-quarter time, the Crows had kicked 8 goals from 23 scoring shots. Melbourne 6 from 8. In the end, Adelaide held on to win by a kick. Might have lost by that margin had Djakovic kicked truly.
I'd love to see the actions of this man if he kicks a goal in this situation. Djakovic goes for a goal and kicks a point. No, he's out of bounds on the full.
Carlton emerged as the big threat to the West Coast Eagles, with a strong win over North Melbourne under lights to open round 14. In David Parkin's 200th game as a coach, the Blues uncovered a new star in forward James Cook. The rookie took a couple of screamers, but backed them up with telling goals.
Crunched early in this quarter by Campbell, and Campbell reported. McKay, stand aside for one moment. Oh, he'll kick a goal from here. He's only 60 metres out.
The biggest massacre in 123 meetings between Footscray and Fitzroy, the Bulldogs won by 104 points, with Grant kicking 6, to take his tally to 17 in 3 weeks. Footscray scored 11 goals to 1 in a forgettable second half for the Lions. Melbourne's pitiful mid-season form continued. Their loss to Richmond gave the Tigers their first hat-trick of wins since 1986. Matthew Knights was again the star.
Knight, short little pass. In towards half forward, but no mark taken. Rhodes gets a hurried kick. Straight back to Knights.
Favoured foot.
Long kick for goal. This for the lead for the Tigers. And they've got it.
Kick it.
Derek Kickett inflamed matters when he publicly stated he hated his former coach Kevin Sheahan on the eve of the Bombers match against Sydney. Kickett threw everything at Essendon. It didn't seem to work.
Oh, he's flattened by Kickett with his hip and shoulder.
Gets the hand pass back to Buick. On his own now is Calthorpe. Approaches the 50. Calthorpe goes long and kicks a goal.
The story of round 14 was at the Gabba, where a sellout crowd saw the Bears win their first match against Collingwood. 3 goals ahead at half-time, the Bears thrilled close to 20,000 with 9 goals in the second half. The star of the day was ruckman Matthew Clark.
Kick goes out near the wing. Hand pass finishes with Lambert. Lambert goes to Voss. Voss's kick across his body, very, very intelligent. Starcevic was on the end of it. His hand pass, not quite what he desired, but Ashcroft made it good. Francis goes for goal, and there's another Bears goal on the board.
St Kilda, without their big guns, were not expected to put up any show under the Wacker lights. Yet for the first half, they ran the Eagles to a point. After a magnificent beginning, the true rankings of these two teams shone through. The top-placed Eagles simply far too strong.
And now playing senior football for St Kilda. Here's a chance for the West Coast again. It's Hart's handball over the top. Jakovic could go long. A big, long bomb by Glenn Jakovic. It's a goal. What a sensational piece of play.
North kicking let the Roos down when they played Essendon in front of 50,000 at the MCG. Longmire kicked 7-6, but while he was the lone focal point for North, Essendon had many. In the end, the Bombers by 7 points, the match crucial to their finals hopes.
That same player, away he goes. 45 metres in closing, past fairly, goes at goal and kicks it. Oshenko's coming on and Ramiro off for North. Oh, Clarkson went off the ground. Could have almost been a free kick. Denham. Marking contest. Wanganeen! About Lamellis has kicked the goal! What a beauty!
Just as St Kilda went to Perth full of hope, so too did Richmond when the Tigers travelled to Adelaide for a Sunday evening encounter. Richmond had never beaten the Crows. A 6-goal third quarter gave the Tigers the edge, and in a thrilling finale, the Tigers hung on to win their 4th in a row. For Adelaide, it was their 3rd home ground loss of the season.
Oh, it's a mark! It's a mark the deal. This could be the sealer. Well, a chance to make it 3 straight kicks they'll have to get from directly in front. Mark Neals put it through for a goal.
Round 16, 1994 was a round for records. At the Western Oval, Tony Shaw equalled Gordon Coventry's club record of 306 games. And what's more, the little bloke played superbly in Collingwood's 49-point win over Fitzroy. Gary Ablett kicked 10 goals against Melbourne. It was the 12th time the Superman of AFL football had reached double figures. But for Melbourne fans, it was yet another day to rue.
The defender to full forward. White got there, chested the ball down. Brewer's hand pass to Ablett. Ablett snaps for goal and kicks number 8.
Richmond won its 5th on end. This was another thriller in front of nearly 50,000 at the MCG. Only 3 points would separate the Tigers and Footscray in a match that was vital for both these sides in search of a finals berth.
Accidental goal. Accidental goal. This. Here come the Tigers. Up to half forward. No one home. Richardson over the top. Murphy back to Richardson. In towards goal. Bird, a goal to Maxfield.
On the Sunday, Greg Williams continued his dominant form. The game's most valuable player, according to Sun, starred as the Blues twice racked up 8-goal quarters against Adelaide. And people were talking of Parkin's men as premiership hopes.
Racing in the goal is Gleeson. Gleeson chips it in and puts it through for another one.
They were being mentioned as possible grand finalists. The West Coast Essendon match fizzled out in the Perth rain. In one of their worst performances under coach Kevin Sheahan, the Bombers could manage only 5 goals. The subsequent 36-point win was enough to consolidate the Eagles on top of the ladder, a game clear of the opposition.
Heady has to spoil, but then he applies an excellent tackle on Wangan, and here comes Lewis to McIntosh. Danger here. McIntosh shrugs the tackle. He should goal.
There were 85,000 at the MCG for the most traditional of clashes between Collingwood and Carlton. But unlike many of the past matches, this was very one-sided. The match was all but over at half-time as the Blues defence, led by Stephen Silvani, restricted the Pies to just 3 goals. At the other end, the Blues forwards ran riot. The result, a 43-point Carlton win.
Really are just struggling up forward. Gavin Krasiska
Should be a goal. Bradley streaming into goal like a store gift runner and pops it through.
There were tears by the bucketful at the Western Oval as Dougie Hawkins became Footscray's new games record holder. Dougie and daughters burst onto the ground. There was an emotional appearance by the old record holder, Mr. Football, Teddy Whitten. Then the Hawks set about playing the sort of footy that has made him famous. Geelong had dominated past meetings, but if there was ever a day for the Dogs, this was it. They won by 28 points.
Put his body, and that was good play. A good hand pass comes out to Collinock. Collinock around the corner. It's another one. Cameron with a sweeping left foot kick. It's a good kick. Grigic again. Can't mark. Oh, there's a chance. Collinock. Can he grab it? Yes, he can. He's trying to run around. He gets onto the right boot. Hooks it back. Will it get there? Brilliant goal, Steve Collinock. And I think that's goodbye to the Cats.
A triple header on Sunday opened with Essendon annihilating Fitzroy. While Watson was carried off with an ankle injury, James Hird was sidelined with ribs and a collapsed lung, the Bombers were never seriously challenged. They kicked 9 goals straight in the last quarter on the way to a 64-point win. In Brisbane, Richmond won its 6th on end and seriously jeopardised Brisbane's finals hopes. Star was Matthew Richardson. He kicked atrociously from dead in front, but still managed 5. At the other end, Alistair Lynch kicked 5 for the Bears. A thrilling last quarter saw the Tigers kick the last 3 goals to overtake the Bears for the points. The margin, 12 points.
It's got good penetration. Richardson can't take the mark. The ball rebounds to Knights. Knights. Oh, what a beautiful kick by Knights. It's a goal.
Adelaide's chances of stopping the West Coast juggernaut appeared slim. But in a last-ditch effort to stay in the finals race, the Crows played on heart alone. Up forward, Kluzak kicked 5. Around the packs, Sean Wren dominated. And at ground level, McGuinness and McDermott had nearly 70 possessions between them. The Crows in a thriller by 4 points.
Wiedemann at half-back. Schwert running for him. Must take it now. Gets to it. He's a left footer. Handball over the top. Good chance. Should back Rashudo. He's kicked it.
Adelaide's last realistic hope of making the finals depended on a win over Sydney at Football Park on a Friday night under lights. In a pre-match sensation, the Crows' glamour player, Tony Modra, was suspended by the club for a training infringement. Spurred by the apparent slight, the Swans produced one of their best performances of recent years. Skipper Kelly, with 37 possessions, was inspirational. I'll kick it in game number 100, kicked 4. The Swans by 2 goals.
We'll just about kick this, you'd reckon. How's that? Thank you very much. And that should be the ball game.
Tony Shaw overtook Gordon Coventry as Collingwood's longest-serving player. But his 307th league game was forgettable. The Woods trailed at every change against Footscray.
Be a Liberatore tackle. I don't think you'd be the first man to ever do it if you get through. Atkins, the kick towards full forward, out in front of Grant. The bounce important. Tries to get past Pert, able to get his right foot to it. Oh, magnificent!
One of the most remarkable sharpshooting efforts ever, St Kilda kicked 18 goals from 20 scoring shots against Essendon. While the reigning premiers fought back, kicking 5 in 8 minutes in the last term, the Saints held firm. Lockett kicked 6-1, while Lowe ruled the air. Ablett's 200th game might well have been one of his most valuable. In a do-or-die situation, the Cats accounted for Carlton at Waverley Park in front of 42,000. Ablett kicked 5. Brownless returned to form with 3, and the Cats looked great. After 6 straight wins, Richmond travelled to Perth to play the top side in the competition. The young Tigers weren't disgraced, but after a competitive first half, fell away in the second. Sumic kicked 6-5.
Away from Hampson he goes, up towards full forward, with a bit of a nudge by McIntosh, but he takes a timely mark and gives it to McKenna on the outer side.
McKenna's away. The active skipper this afternoon goes in short. Kept the lines out there with Bond. Wilson was there as well, and the kick comes down towards Paul. Sumich, he's going to get another goal as he runs in and gets his sixth.
Footscray led North Melbourne under the MCG lights by 9 points at half-time. The second half was all Norths. Longmire and Carey kicked 9 between them, and the Roos cruised home by 20 points.
Sorry about that, chaps. Longmire goes back, Carey goes for goal, and has the captain done it? Of course he has.
Carlton recorded its 6th straight win over Hawthorn. Kernahan the difference with 5 straight.
Try and actually get some of that rosin or whatever it is off their hands. Here's Williams through the middle to Kernahan. Kernahan from 45 metres has kicked a goal. Directly in front. Kicks and kicks truly.
The upset of the round, Melbourne hammered Essendon by 78 points. It was Melbourne's biggest win over the Bombers since 1937 and was made possible by the sterling forward play of Lyon and Schwartz. Lyon kicked 8 at full forward and was given grand support by Schwartz, who kicked 5. For the first time in over 20 years, Melbourne had won 3 games in a row against Essendon.
43,132. Lovell on to Dyson. Attendance this afternoon pretty good. Oh, here he is again. Schwartz.
That clean she took on that ball was extremely strong and clean.
40 metres out. Slight angle. He kicks and goes.
In another quite amazing result, Brisbane defeated St Kilda, despite the fact the Bears had 2 goalless quarters. St Kilda had the opportunity to snatch the game, but failed to goal from any of its 6 scoring opportunities in the final term. The talking point of round 19 was Sydney's visit to the MCG. The Swans lost by 5 goals against Richmond, but to add insult to the result, they lost Jamie Lawson with a broken leg. They had skipper Paul Kelly suspended for 2 matches for striking Bond, and Glamour import Dermot Brereton in trouble again. Brereton broke Tony Free's jaw and was suspended for 7 matches for the 2nd time in 1994.
If he has been reported. And John Northey's had a bit to say to him too, I think, behind the play.
It was an incident that fired up the Tigers.
No mark taken. Working hard was Bond. Broderick off the ground has given it to Richardson. And Gracie, you can say goodbye to the Fox.
It was a fiery start to round 20, and for Collingwood ruckman Damien Monkhorst a $5,000 entry onto the ground. 76,000 were at the MCG on this Friday night, and to the delirious delight of the Magpie fans, it was one-way traffic for Collingwood. The Pies by 28 points. And while he erred on entry, Monkhorst was the dominant player.
By Williams is quite magnificent. It's a goal. A high kick by that player to the square, and Tranquilli nearly got it. Thompson gives away a bit of ground. Back to the square. Buckley, talented. Can he get enough room? A magnificent kick by Buckley's a goal.
Gary Ablett kicked his 100th goal of 93 against North. He did the same in 94. His second goal brought up his ton, and for some minutes Princess Park was inundated with hordes paying tribute. While Ablett stole the show, the match was a beauty.
O'Reilly in front. Fields and lost sight of Adelson. Stevens caught by Colbert. No free kick. The umpire calls play on. Couch takes the hand pass. Gets around 1. On to Bairstow from 30 metres out. Kicks a goal.
Paul Hudson had his best day for the year against the Eagles. The Hawks forward kicked 5 goals. His teammate Darren Jarman was best of field. And in one of their best performances for the year, the Hawks beat the Premiership favourites for the 2nd time this season.
That is magnificent skill by Jarman. Well, Hudson has kicked 2. They need this one, the Hawks. He's directly in front. He kicks it goal. It's a beauty right through the middle.
They're defensive players, so they've never been settled all day.
So here's Taylor doing the ruck with Hudson, the dangerous Hudson for goal number 5. He bends it around. Yes, he's kicked it.
Chris Grant of Footscray beat Adelaide off his own boot. His 7 goals was more than the Adelaide Crows kicked for the afternoon. Adelaide's miserable tally of 410 was their 2nd lowest score ever.
Well, Grant and Osborne have got a goal each already. They combine. Have they got one between them? They have. That's through. That's a goal.
Gary Lyon was stunning in Brisbane. The Melbourne skipper kicked 5 goals. But this was the best of them in a 15-point win at the Gabba.
What's he manufactured there? It's a goal. Magnificent kick by Gary Lyon.
It was a week of controversy, and most of it featured Fitzroy. Coach Robert Shaw announced that he would be leaving the club, and there were rumours that the Lions would merge, perhaps with Melbourne. In Sydney on August 7th, the Lions made sure they wouldn't win the wooden spoon. Wheeldon kicked 4 in the Roy's 28-point win over Sydney.
Man on in the square, that's Wheeldon. He can turn around and kick the easiest of goals. It's a droppy. High one, down towards full forward. Worked under the ball was Malloy, taken by Wheeldon, who's been given a reprieve, and he's kicked a goal.
The trip to Perth was expected to be a highlight for North Melbourne. By half-time, the third-place Roos had kicked only 2 goals against the Eagles. The showdown between Carey and Djakovic was one-sided. It evened the score for the year. In the end, North came back, but fell short by 9 points.
This is a great start for the Eagles. Worsfold, Carey, Djakovic, Worsfold again. Ball provides the shepherd for his captain. Worsfold runs the full measure. Ashenko collects him quite harmlessly, really. Heady goes to ground. Turley's been good in this quarter. Spins and weaves. Centering kick is a goal. Wonderful!
Nearly 50,000 braved pre-match showers in the hope of a classic Melbourne-Collingwood encounter at the MCG. The Demons, playing erratic and indirect football, eased out to a 3-goal lead, but were outplayed in the final term. The highlight, John Hassel's goal on the run.
Oh, yes, it is going to John Hassel. So he can... Oh, look, no one on the mark. Well, he was, but he was directing players. Yes. Andrew Obbs, this is going to cost them a goal. Great play, Hassel. What about that? Tremendous play by the little fella. Well done, John Hassel.
Footscray underlined their top 8 standing by thrashing St Kilda. The rookie Southern may look rough and tumble, but he's a slick character on the field.
So Southern from left half forward. Oh, he's been watching Douglas. Kicks to Osborne. Plenty of space. Clear of Peckett. Goes long. You'd back him to kick these, and he does.
West goes down towards half forward. Grigich in front. Content to fist it on. Knocked on cleverly by Beveridge into the path of Cameron. Cameron deep in the pocket, pulls it back. Normally he's a chance from there. And that's a magnificent goal. The best of the afternoon.
Geelong and Fitzroy scrapped it out for 3 quarters. The end Geelong by 41 points, but at a heavy cost. The loss of Stoneham with a broken leg cast a pall over their finals hopes. Chris Langford established himself as one of the key playmakers. 15 marks highlighted a best-of-field performance against Richmond. Tigers kicked atrociously. 4-8 in the final term summed up their game. The mark of the day, the Hawks' Alex McDonald. He backed that up with 5 goals. The upset of the round most certainly unfolded at the SCG on Sunday afternoon. Sydney beating Carlton in a most impressive and cohesive display. Youngsters like Doreen and Creswell providing Coach Barassi with some hope for 1995.
Brown, but beaten for it by Lewis. Terrific play, Doreen to Philandia. Philandia goes for goal, and he's kicked a magnificent goal, Peter Philandia.
The tightest match of the round was in Adelaide. The Crows coming from behind late in the game to snatch a 3-point victory and perhaps end the Bears' hopes.
Will still be theirs if they can win this, but McDermott finds Liptak away to Tregenza. The Crows go forward again, up towards half-forward. Champion leaves Mogra, but there's the mark to Tony Hall. Has kicked 3 goals, all of those in the first term. This one to give the Crows the lead. Distance will certainly test him. He's kicking from 50, starts it right. It's coming back. It's a lovely looking kick. They're in front.
Co-tenants Melbourne and North Melbourne opened round 22 on Friday night. A vital match with September looming. Lyon was again a focal point for Melbourne, while Andy Lovell would kick 5 goals in an opportunistic display up forward. North had little drive from its key forwards, Carey, Longmire and McAdam. Disturbingly for the Roos, Melbourne finished far too strongly.
Viney runs away from half-back and drills it to centre-half forward. Schwartz and Martin. Schwartz does well. Ball spills for Malloy. Out into the path of Lovell. Lovell will get a goal. He's kicked 4.
66,000 at the MCG the next day saw another game between two September hopefuls. Only a kick separated Collingwood and Geelong at the half-time break. At three-quarter time, just 1 point. It would be the Woods crack recruit Nathan Buckley would be the difference. He kicked 4, including this one, the match winner.
Kicks for goal. I think it's good. It is. Collingwood in front.
There's not much that can stop Carlton when they're on a roll. This goal from Bradley is typical.
Out towards the wing it goes. Craig Bradley with the run of it. The crowd rising as one. McKay back to Bradley. What a goal this would be. Banana kick by Bradley. Just touched, I think. A goal! What a goal by Bradley!
Greg Williams underlined his Brownlow medal favouritism with yet another performance that bordered on sheer magic. 45 possessions helped destroy the Eagles at Princess Park. Kernahan played a major role with 6 goals. But the day and the 10-goal win belonged to Diesel.
Brown! A snap and a goal by Brown! Still there, Alvin. Look at the desperation. Williams for his millionth possession. McKay, a hand pass. Taken by Mitchell. 35 metres out. Mitchell gets the goal!
Turley would be suspended for 2 matches for striking the Carlton champ. It caused a sensation at the tribunal when he said Williams had hit him 3 times. The AFL investigated, decided Williams had no charges to answer. Only 10 of the 94 premiership side took the field when Essendon met Hawthorn on the Sunday in front of nearly 50,000 at the MCG. Cummings kicked 4 in an impressive 52-point win for the Bombers. And for Sheedy's men, the hopes of defending their premiership remain, if only slightly.
It's a goal.
In Brisbane, Footscray recorded win number 12. Grant kicking 5 in a 10-point win.
Cameron's kick. This is not a bad shot at goal, and the mark has been taken by Grant, and he gets his 3rd.
Chris Grant for his 5th. It's a wobbler,
It's a goal.
and it looks pretty good from here. It's there.
The sight of Wayne Carey and John Longmire kicking goals was the perfect tonic for North fans after 3 straight losses. The Roos bounced back with a record 86-point win over Fitzroy. It was a percentage booster that assured them a final spot.
This Friday, and their opposition is Fitzroy. Longmire. A big kick by Johnny Longmire. Magnificent kick. Is a goal.
Blakey with some tenacity there. Through centre half-back, Roos and Carey. Carey winning that duel handsomely. Plays on excitingly, takes the bounce, takes on Roos, goes for goal. Terrific looking kick. Wonderful footy.
Carlton stopped Richmond dead, gave the young Tigers their worst hiding of the year. 113-point thrashing was orchestrated by the magnificent play of Craig Bradley. It was finished by Fraser Brown, who kicked 7, and by Barry Mitchell, who was devastating. It was Carlton's 9th straight win at Princess Park. The Blues found themselves on top of the ladder for the first time since round 1, 1992.
6 out of the pack. Fraser Brown make it 7.
Lockett at his most awesome. 8 goals in another steamrolling display. This time the Saints had too much firepower for Collingwood. In the thriller of the round, Stan Alves' boys did have to withstand a shaky finish, but held on to win by 2 points. Footscray cemented its place in the final series by defeating Melbourne. The Demons had looked polished in the first half, actually led by a kick, but the Bulldogs showed their class in the second half.
Chris Grant. Oh, great play by Grant. Races into goal. Brilliant play by the full forward.
Geelong too started slowly and trailed Sydney by 3 goals at half-time. Ablett kicked 6. Couch was inspirational. The Cats, with an 8-goal third term, were never headed. Jason Dunstall returned to Queensland to kick his 1,000th career goal. was the first of 6 he would kick against the Bears.
The fourth, the Hawthorn champ from 45 metres, kicks, there it is. Magnificent performance by this great Hawthorn champion, Bernie, and I don't think we've seen a better full forward play the game.
The other end, Odgemerritt was contemplating retirement, but still found time to kick 4 goals. It was a scrappy win, but a costly one too, as the Hawks lost Anthony Condon with a knee injury, an injury that would end his season. For Adelaide fans, 1994 was a shocking season. If there was a little light, it came from this great win over Essendon. The side that had ended their grand final dream in 1993, stopped them in the 1994 Foster's Cup grand final, proved to be mortal. With Tony Modra and Tony Hall finding form, the Crows won in style by 57 points.
Meters out, round the body he goes. It will bounce over Modra. Now he gets back, he snaps, and what a goal! What a goal!
Nearly 73,000 packed the MCG to see North Melbourne and Collingwood. Despite losing skipper Carey with an injured calf, the Roos were never in trouble. Full forward John Longmire took his tally for the season to 72 with an 8-goal haul in a pre-finals hit-out that gave coach Pagan plenty of assurance. North by 64 points, and third place was theirs.
The back, the quick reply. Longmire now has 7.
In a replay of the 1993 grand final, Essendon was playing for pride against topside Carlton. After a season that saw the Bombers decimated with injuries, Sheedy's men produced the football we all knew they were capable of. A point the difference at the last break, the Bombers kicked 4 goals to 1 in the final term. The difference? Perhaps David Parkin's decision to omit Greg Williams and Fraser Brown, both declared unfit.
Shrugs the tackle. Darren Buick going goalwards. Nobody at home. A goal.
Richmond had to beat Geelong to make the finals for the first time in 12 years. Even the pre-match announcement that Coleman medalist Gary Ablett was unfit to play wouldn't help the Tigers. The Cats came to life through Billy Brownless, who kicked 8 goals. At one stage, Geelong booted 10 straight in a final tally of 27-9. The result was never in doubt. The Cats by 76 points.
Brownless should kick a goal from here. And he punts straight through the centre.
Robert Shaw bowed out of the coaching job at Fitzroy, a 38-point loss to a St Kilda side, missing Tony Lockett. Didn't provide him with great memories of his exit. Stewie Lowe kicked 5 for the Saints, but managed to win their last 3 matches of the season. Hawthorn defeated Adelaide by 19 points. It was a former South Australian, Darren Jarman, who did the damage.
By Pritchard. Pritchard steals it well. Kicks into space at half forward. Dunstall and Smart again. Jarman, excellent hand pass. If it sits for Hudson, and it does, that will be the sealer. 2 goals to Hudson in the final quarter.
Melbourne had to beat Sydney to win a place in the finals. They did just that with relative ease. The Demons kicking for goal was awesome. David Schwartz kicking 9 straight. Charles and Pike kicking 5 each as well. The final scoreline showed the Demons 27-5. Victors by 46 points.
He's kicked a couple of brilliant goals this quarter. This is going pretty close as well. Oh, not again. What a great kick. 3 in the toe.
In Perth that afternoon, the 165th and final home and away match for the season, the West Coast appeared to be sailing smoothly until this incident right on the halftime siren. Heady quite fairly flattened by Steve Wallace. The result was one of the ugliest and most controversial melees of the season. The repercussions would last weeks. Danny Southern was at the centre of things as he grabbed Eagle forward Peter Sumich in a headlock. Sumich would be unconscious for some minutes. While the Eagles won by 71 points to snatch top spot on the ladder, the AFL immediately announced an investigation into the whole tawdry affair. While football boss Ian Collins talked of deals with both clubs that would see the players cleared and the clubs fined, the AFL thought otherwise. 8 players were cited on 10 charges following investigations by league officer Max Croxford. While Footscray took Supreme Court action to successfully postpone the tribunal until the following Tuesday night, the Eagles went ahead with the hearing. but all 5 of their players were cleared. The only casualty would be Sullivan, fined $10,000 for misconduct.
Welcome back to That Was the Season That Was, and so the home and away series is behind us, down to the nitty-gritty. But at this stage of proceedings, Michael, everyone in the AFL, I'm sure, would have been very, very happy. Record crowds, magnificent attendances, and a new corporate sponsor that meant plenty more dollars going into the AFL bank.
Well, the record crowds are used as the barometer, aren't they? And rightly so, and they're excellent figures, and I think it just shows the health of the product. And the other thing that would have brought a huge sigh of relief from the Great Southern Stand would have been the deal with Coca-Cola. Not only was it big money, and I think it's conservatively $30 million for the next 7 years, what it does, it takes them past the Sydney Olympics, and there's going to be a huge drain on sponsorship money between now and then, and the AFL have tied up a major sponsor for that period.
We should also say at this time of the year, Michael, people tend to call this perhaps the silly season as far as football is concerned. Everyone's out of contract, coaches are doing funny things. For example, Tony Lockett, for St Kilda, was out of contract and creating headlines right around the country, while in the coaching department, Robert Shaw said farewell to Fitzroy.
He did, and the timing was interesting, wasn't it? I mean, it was 4 weeks before...
Were you surprised at that?
I was. I think...
Disappointed?
I thought it was a bit harsh on Fitzroy to declare his intentions that early. There was... The cynical view was that he was putting himself on the market for a job, principally Adelaide. I'm not quite sure what his motivation was, but I think Fitzroy would have preferred him to have completed the season before he announced that. The Lockett situation, well, Plugger makes headlines on the ground and off it, doesn't he? And look, it's just amazing. Despite the criticism of him and the fact that he only plays about 10 games a year, very few players have got the ability to generate so much publicity.
You're right. Let's just go back to that Fitzroy situation for the minute because, and I think you called him this, Simon the Likeable has taken over in Bernie Quinlan.
Yeah.
Geez, he must be keen.
Well, he is, I think, and he's never disguised that. I mean, Bernie has said, yes, he knows about the negative vibes about his old football club, but he said, and openly, and I wish more people would be as blunt as he's been about this, he said every footballer has it in the back of his mind to coach his old club.
Another player, a coach who said farewell, former player and coach who said farewell, was Graham Corns. Will he ever coach again in the AFL?
Well, I'm not sure he said farewell, or if he did, it was reluctantly, Sandy.
He was forced to say farewell, I think.
Yeah, I'm a bit sympathetic towards Corns. I think that it was always going to be a very difficult task being the first coach of a new AFL team. He certainly paid the price for the decline this year, but I can't help but remember the words of Tony McGuinness last summer that had Adelaide lost to Collingwood in the last round last year, they would have finished 8th. And I think we all fell in for the trap of thinking that this is a super team. They've only got to appear and they're going to be in the finals. It wasn't the case, and Corns has paid the price.
At the start of our program and at the start of the year, you said you weren't a big rap for the final 8. Well, we're going to get down to the finals now. Don't say a word, but I'll talk to you later and just see if you've changed your opinion on the final 8.
For the first time, 8 teams contested the finals, and it would be one of the greatest weekends in Australian football ever. At Waverley Park, 3rd place North Melbourne bet 6th place Hawthorn in a game that was as thrilling as any of the dozen blockbusters between the clubs in the 70s. The Hawk star Jason Dunstall needed 3 for his century, his 5th 100 in league football.
Straight through the centre. Well done, Dunstall.
And here they come. 3 goals to Jason Dunstall.
North's big men, led by skipper Carey at centre half forward, and young ruckman Corey McKernan dominated the air. When the final siren sounded, scores were dead level. The ball in the hands of David King. This kick for victory.
We have extra time. And look at Dennis Pagan. He is just so disappointed that the boy didn't get the ball onto his boot a little quicker. Because if it had landed in the square, North Melbourne may have been able to rush it over the line and score a point.
It's going to be a big torpedo, Robbo.
It's got to be the biggest kick this man has ever done in his life to score.
Where's Malcolm Blight?
Now, if it bounces in the square, it's a dead ball, right?
Yes.
Here's King. He's got onto it. It is a big, big kick, but it's rebounded, so we've got extra time in the qualifying final.
So the game went to extra time, and here the Roos ran amok. A 23-point victory left their premiership hopes alive.
Blood to the Kangaroos.
If he's accurate, it's his 4th. But the coffin's already nailed up. Carey from 35 gets the goal. The consummate professional that he is, and North Melbourne blitzing Hawthorn in extra time.
That night at the MCG, Gary Ablett put on his own personal show, kicking 5 goals in the first quarter. Vintage Ablett.
Trying to take it away with Hickmott. Almost finds Ablett and he goes! What play!
Then, Footscray fought back.
Brown forced to defend. Cameron does the roving work. Can he bend this one back? Around he comes. What a kick by Leon Cameron! The Dogs need a goal. They trail by 5 points. They've got the opportunity here as it sets sail in towards full forward. Brown flies. Osborne's left loose and he goes!
With seconds to go in the match, Footscray led by a point. The ball landed in the hands of Billy Bruns.
He's got to play on and they've got to take a mark. It's got to be Ablett or Brownlee. Oh, what a finish. 8 seconds left.
If he kicks a down, if he kicks a point, it'll be another tie.
Oh, don't tell me.
Oh!
The siren's going to sound.
Oh! How'd you like that for pressure?
Well, his coach, Malcolm Blight, knows all about that.
This is your moment, Billy. He'll go back and belt this straight through the middle.
Yes, I'd back him.
Well, he's had a rock and rolling season, down and out, and back he comes. Can he finish it off with a goal? Billy, you are king of Geelong.
Oh! The monkey's off the back, Billy!
Billy! Oh, Billy! Look at them!
To the delight of coach Malcolm Blight, the Cats by 5 points.
Look at Blighty out there. It's the highest look he's made in 2 years.
I've never seen a coach react like that, have you?
Well, they were facing adversity at half-time. They'd lost plays. This is one of the great victories at Geelong.
Sunday, we were back at the MCG. Second place Carlton, expected to be far too strong for 7th placed Melbourne. From the very start, the equation was lopsided. Despite a second quarter fight back by Carlton, inspired by Kernahan, Melbourne held control all day. Its forward line was supreme under Schwartz. It had goal kickers in Charles, who finished with 5, and Pike, who kicked 4. In fact, it had winners everywhere. Melbourne threw by 27 points, and in doing so, Hawthorn was teetering.
Goes for goal! In the goal square, Charles, and he kicks his ball.
Later that day, Collingwood visited Perth. The top-placed Eagles raging favourites to defeat the Magpies in the first ever final at the Wacker. 4 goals down at the last change, the Magpies steamed home. They kicked 6 goals in the final term. And when Mick McGuan looked set to mark in front, the margin was just 2 points.
Collingwood are going to take a mark. Inside the 50, missed by McGuan. It comes to Jakovic. They dive in, it's all over. The siren will sound. McGuan had the half chance, couldn't hang on. It's all over at the Wacker. And what a remarkable game of football. Only fitting in the weekend we've had.
So Collingwood joined Hawthorn as the first casualties of the new Look 8, on a weekend in which 3 of the matches were decided by a kick. For Tony Shaw, it was the final chapter, a tearful and emotional farewell. For the first time since 1981, Carlton and Geelong clashed in the finals, and when the teams ran onto Waverley Park, it looked a lopsided Cat lineup. In the stands were 3 prime movers, Mark Bairstow, Gary Hocking and Paul Couch, all last-minute replacements. Suddenly the Blues were hot favourites. Even against the undermanned Cats, they looked second-rate. Acting skipper Gary Ablett was the man who had to be stopped. 6 times during the afternoon, he wasn't. And his goals were fatal wounds for the Blues.
Marking magnificently.
Carlton had finished the season in 2nd place, but looked second-rate. Only Steve Kernahan, a forward, provided some focal point. While he took a dozen marks, he was off targets too often. Geelong had a 4-goal break at half-time, kept that intact at three-quarter time, and stretched their winning margin to 33 points. It was one of the Cats' greatest ever wins, a win against adversity.
Darcy, Mensch, Hickmott, could end it, he has. That should be the ball game.
The next day, 65,000 braved the Arctic conditions at the MCG to see the most one-sided final to date. Melbourne kicked 5 goals in the first quarter. And just as Footscray had been unable to weather the Ablett storm the previous week, this time they faced up to a typhoon named Gary Lyon. Lyon kicked 6 straight before half-time. He would finish with 10 in a match-winning performance.
Here's number 10 if he's accurate. And he is!
There were some terrible collisions.
Gets the hand pass away to Wallace. They're starting to run. West has been one of their best. Look at this pass in towards Grant. No mark taken. Grant is in trouble. Grant is down behind play.
He got hit very hard, Chris Grant.
He's not moving. He's in real strife.
In the second half, David Schwartz underlined his potential as the most exciting centre-half forward to emerge in years. His marking was spectacular. But he too came to grief. This collision with Darcy ending his day. Melbourne through to the preliminary final. The victory margin 39 points.
Let's have a look at this just one more time. That's a real crunch, isn't it?
While Alan Joyce took time to congratulate his rival coach Neil Baum, the look on Dougie Hawkins' face told it all. On a Super Saturday, 2 preliminary finals would be played for the first time. At the MCG, North Melbourne would meet Geelong. It was their 3rd meeting in a finals.
Plays on Corey McKernan. Out in front of Carey. No mark, but he plays on the skipper. Left footer. Kicks it under his man for a goal.
Kicks it inside the 50. Longmire favoured by the kick. Awkward half volley. Keeps it in front. He's 35 metres out. Pulls it back towards Carey and McGrath. Oh, what a mark! Turns round and kicks the goal. Unbelievable. We're down to 10 seconds. Colbert. And the mark is missed down there by Barnes. Right on the boundary line. Tudor. He will kick after the siren. Oh my goodness me.
There were 2 seconds on the clock when Ablett took the mark.
Gary Ablett, 5 metres out. Any score will do. Geelong are in the grand final.
In Perth later that day, Melbourne lined up against the Eagles. Their 4th final showdown in 7 years. At stake a grand final berth. Melbourne, the rank outsiders, who'd finished 7th against the Eagles, at one time the raging premiership favourites.
Melbourne striving from half-back to get the ball clear. Matera to Wilson. Wilson loves it. He loves it and laps it up. Kicks it to Turnbull. Turnbull approaching centre-half forward. Bombs away to the goal line. It's a mark taken by Ball about 3 metres out directly in front. He will get his 2nd goal. There's the siren. So it's all over for season 1994. Ball gets the goal and the Demons have been sunk at the whacker.
And with this announcement, Greg Williams would become a dual holder of football's most coveted individual award, the Charles Brownlow Medal.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt Greg Williams is a great champion, and I'd like tonight to invite Ian Collins to present the Brownlow Medal to Greg Williams.
I got a bit cocky there at one stage, but Matera with 28 was it's a fantastic effort for him to get so close. But it's a huge count and so many votes. I just never expected to get so many, and I'm just wrapped, and I thank the umpires very much.
Centering kick, knocked away from ball by Handley. Quick hands from Couch back to Handley. Used McGrath as a decoy. Now goes down the middle. Ablett in front. Works off his man, takes the mark, open goal. Gets it, Geelong in front. Pushing the ball towards the middle. Still he goes, Riccardi. Well played indeed. Mensch. Mansfield arches the back and comes away. Kicks well inside the 50. Groundless. Again for distance. Turnbull over Barnes. Gets it on the ground again. Wilson over the left shoulder. Kemp. 45 metres out, Dean Kemp. Will this be a goal? Yes, it will. A long time coming.
And Mick Malthouse with a remarkable record as coach there. Here's Evans to Kemp. At about 70 metres of the bounce. At 50 now. Oh, chips to Lewis. Not quite. Goal anyway. It's all happening.
Michael Malthouse. A job well done. He coached his first game at the Western Oval back in 1984. Footscray was the side. They won that afternoon against Richmond. And now a long road to the MCG and his second premiership. The Eagles are premiers for the second time in 3 seasons. No debate. They've won in the most convincing style. 2023 to 8:15. They're celebrating in Western Australia.
I got my scarf, got my old coat. I got a footy game to go to. Footy's on, footy's here again. Back to greet me like an old friend. And well, that's the thing about, that's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football. I'll meet a friend outside the ground. We'll argue over who's gonna win. He'll go for his team, I for mine. We'll watch him slug it out right till the end. And show me the crowd and I'll take my place. I'm hungry for the taste of it. And well, that's the thing about, that's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football. That's what football means to me. That's how I like my footy to be. And well, that's the thing about, that's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football. That's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football. That's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about I got a long road to walk down to catch a tram to my favorite ground. Use my legs, use my voice, make some noise, support the boys. And that's what football means to me. That's how I like my footy to be. And well, that's the thing about, that's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football. That's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football. That's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football. That's what I like about. Yeah, that's the thing about football.
This has been a 7 Sports production.
I'm here to tell you about the fantastic Name the Game series from Australian Football Video. Now, there's over 200 games available, including final series, state games, night premierships, and the best home and away matches of the 91 and 92 seasons. Not just the highlights, not just the last quarter, but 100 minutes of top footy action. So pick up your free catalogue at any Brasher store. And remember, footy brings out the best in a person.